Welcome back to the Tie 5 podcast. I'm Matthew. I'm here with two of my black boys, Kobena, James. How are we doing today, boys?
Again, I do not know what you're talking about. I'm not black, so
The whitest person I know. Dang. Well, good introduction. Today we're talking about the one, the only, the Superman from Mr. James Gunn. Breaking down all of the kisses, all of the wars, all of the ugly babies. But yeah, Superman. How many times have you guys watched this? Because I know, Jim, you've watched it like 3 times, right?
Just watched it for the third time yesterday.
My goodness. I've watched it once. I watched it with Jim, and then I watched it with Kay yesterday. And then I think Kay, you just watched it once, right?
yeah, just the one yesterday. Yeah, so I think my analysis will be severely limited by the fact that I probably don't remember most of what happened, but we gonna ball.
We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. But yeah, before we hop into the things, I have a little game that I like to play called the Letterbox Tagline game. And so I don't know how much of you guys use Letterbox, but basically every single Letterbox movie has a little like mini tagline at the bottom of it. Like some of them that are written by the actual marketing team, like that they use on the posters. Some of them are just like made up. Um, but like uh Alien was like in space, no one can hear you scream. Avengers was like some assembly required. So like sometimes it's like a little fun tagline, sometimes it's like a what do you call it? A pun. But here's a little game for Kay and Jim. Can you guys guess or give your guess best? Yeah, best guess for the last tagline for Superman. Whoever
I
wins
have a
gets
good
to
guess.
talk first.
Okay. I knew this was coming, so I've like avoided Letterboxd and IMDb since yesterday. But I'm gonna assume since on the promo it's like look up. Someone was like look up.
Oh, that's
I
pretty
don't
good.
know. That's what a lot of their posters were doing though. And I saw the Supergirl poster like this morning. I don't know if you guys saw that release.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah, I
like
saw
look
it.
up, but it's like looked up with scratch out with look out because yeah.
Okay.
Is he right? Because if he is, I don't want to
Um,
bother guessing because that sounds pretty good.
let me check. I don't know. I haven't looked at it either. Oh, he is right. It is just straight up look up.
Yeah, I was gonna guess that
Wow.
also. That sounds completely correct. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I
So
feel
nice.
they
like this is
use
an
like
easy character to guess it for.
yeah, it's a pretty easy one, but look up and on Letterboxd it says Superman journalist in Metropolis embarks on a journey to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as Clark Kent.
I feel like that
New
was not what
movie.
the movie was about, but okay.
Yeah, homie like was Clark Kent for about 7 seconds, and then yeah,
This is truly the Superman movie. There's no
yeah.
Yeah,
Clark here.
yeah.
No alter yeah.
Dang. All right. Well, Jim, since you won first by just saying it first, I guess overall, non-spoiler thoughts on the movie.
Non-spoiler thoughts about the movie. I mean, it's everything you would expect when you hear James Gunn is making a Superman movie. Is there gonna be comedic moments that like that kind of just abruptly ruin like really heartfelt moments? Yes. Is he gonna put like a twist on it that you like something similar you would see from Guardians of the Galaxy with a group of characters in the movie? Yes. It's I think it's kind of predictable, and I think it really just plays the James Gunn formula pretty like safe. And I think it's pretty. Yeah, I think it's if you kind of know what you're going in to see if you've already seen some of his projects before.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, what about you, Mr. One-Time Watcher?
Wait, what was the prompt? I know you said spoiler free, but like, what exactly am I answering? Like, what's the question
Oh, I
again?
don't know. Spoiler-free thoughts. Spoiler-free review.
Oh, I think this is a very enjoyable movie. That I hope people enjoy and like for not only the story it tells, but maybe also the ways that it is different from other Superman versions they may have seen, and also similar to other versions. That being said, I think for what people were expecting that this movie would be and what it would do for the upcoming DC universe, I think it absolutely is not that at all. But hey, to each their own. I hope people are able to enjoy the movie for what it is, but I do not think it is what people are saying it is, or at least what people were hoping it would be.
Interesting. Wait, did you? Okay, overall, would you say like you liked it?
I did. I liked it. I think it's a good movie.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, when I came out, so I watched it the first time Thursday, and then watched it again this past Tuesday. So I had like some time in between. When I first walked out of the movie, I was like, "Oh, this is like pretty good. Like I enjoy this quite a bit. Like I feel like good start to like new DCU." And then when I thought about it more, I liked it less. And then I think by the time Tuesday came around, I like was firmly in the like don't think this movie is great. And I think when I watched it, I think all of the things that I liked about it like were confirmed. I just like liked them more, and then all the things I didn't like about it, like I disliked even more. But I still think like in a weird way, like I like the characters a lot, so I feel like I'm excited to see like I don't know Lois Lane and Superman and Lex like in the future. But like in this movie, I'm like maybe it doesn't come together as like the most cohesive, super sweet thing. And so I can understand why like a lot of people are like happy about it and like raving about it. But I'm also like I don't know, I have like a lot of problems with it, which are like I think frustrating because it's like I could see the potential there. But yeah, I don't know, Jim. Like in your like three watches, like what was like the kind of like up and down
Yeah,
there?
I forgot to say earlier, but overall, my opinion of the film is like I think it's solid. I think it's fine. I think a lot of us had really high expectations for this, regardless of like how you like approach movies or just whatever you wanted from it. I think we all wanted like expected so much from it. And from like these three rewatches, like there's like one thing that sticks out to me. This movie's like very rewatchable, and at least in my opinion, I think like I could see myself just be like background movie. But yeah, there's a lot of like glaring issues for me, and there's a lot of things that as well that I like about it. I think there's like casting is really good in this movie. I think writing is good in some parts. I think it's certain areas pretty rough, especially with this is spoilers, but like Lex Luthor, Nicholas Holt, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, he's amazing, and I think everyone is gonna say that, or that's what they take away from the movie. But I think his writing is very like they didn't give him the best material to work with, and he's really working with what he got. Yeah, I I kind of wish we got more of Clark, more of the alter ego. I really wish we got more of this like his kind of common struggle, like something more on the level like Spider-Man 2. Like I really just like to see like kind of more of his dynamic with parents, friends, Jimmy Olsen. Just more of that in general. It really did feel like it was just super awkward. I mean, that worked for the movie, but
I don't know if it's me, but I feel like I hear cutting out like here and there ish kind of.
I was hearing a good bit of that too.
oh, was that cutting out?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I heard Nicholas Hoult and then kind of not much after that.
Oh, I was saying that he didn't really get much to work with. I feel like writing wise, but he really what he had, he was able to do a good amount with it. And I feel like there's a lot of issues like that writing all around with this movie. I think there's and I had mentioned earlier that I'll bring up right now. I kind of wish we got more of Clark Kent overall. I wish we got to see him interact more with his parents, more with like Jimmy Olsen, and more of the people in his like day to day life, Lois and all that. I mean, we get like a good amount with him together, but I think that's about it. You get like one decent scene of him at the family. But I wish there kind of could have been more. But I also get that this is an origin story. I still feel like the story could have benefited a lot from having them around, or just seeing what those dynamics are like.
Yeah, I think like I agree. Like there's a lot of like most of the scenes I feel like are like Superman is in his Superman costume, but he's as Clark Kent, but he's talking to people who already know that he's Superman and Clark Kent. So it's like these Clark Kent scenes where like he's hanging out with Lois or whatever. Like I feel like yeah, there's only that one in the very beginning when like he's coming to the Daily Planet and like he's pretending to like argue with Lois and um yeah, it feels like that part was just like completely thrown out the window. Which I think I'm like I don't know I was fine with, and I remember like one of the first trailers when like David Cornsweet does like that voice shift thing where he like says like oh like sure yeah let's use and then like he does like the nice like Miss Lane voice. Everyone was like losing their mind and like excited about like seeing the transition between the two and um I don't know yeah that just like wasn't part of the story and wasn't really a thing and I don't think I was like slighted by it too much or like left wanting more. Um but yeah, kind of talking about our main character Superman. How do you guys think like this iteration of or like this portrayal of Superman slash Clark Kent was for you guys? Like, do we dig it?
Is that for anyone to answer or
Yeah, for anyone.
wait? Do you guys hear that beeping in the background?
It's chill. It's faint, but I can
Is
get rid of
it?
it.
Okay. Oh, it's this. Sorry. Okay, I fixed it. Anyway, I think I liked it. It's good. It's not my favorite, but that's just a personal preference kind of thing because, as I'm sure we'll talk about more at some point when we're, I guess, comparing this to the last kind of big Superman movie in the Snyderverse. I think I like realistic portrayals of what it would really be like to have like superheroes like on Earth or metahumans or whatever you want to call them. Um, and this was like definitely not that at all, but I don't think that means it's bad. I think it's just different. As for David Cornsweet, I think he did a great job. He's like a likable Superman, which I think is big. Wouldn't necessarily say he's relatable, but definitely you like him a lot. You root for his character. I think he portrayed Superman very well. That being said, like you were kind of hinting at a bit ago, like Clark Kent is basically not in this movie, which seems to be intentional, but still, he's like I think the only real Superman that we've seen have like a stark difference between Clark Kent and Superman was Christopher Reeves. He's like the only one where you could actually tell. But this one, it was just Superman and not Superman. Like Clark Kent's like basically not like his own separate person. Like they're one. And not that that's like a bad thing or anything, but I think something people were really expecting from this film when they saw that one scene with the voice change was that that was going to be like a major part. Oh, yeah, he's totally nailed it. He is able to switch and completely change his mannerisms and his demeanor and seem like a completely different person, like Christopher Reeves was able to do. And maybe he's capable of that, but the story was certainly not written in such a way so, that was either necessary or showcased at all. Um, Again, I don't think that's bad. I think it's just an observation, and I kind of didn't understand why people were so like excited that he was like, oh yeah, he's doing the character switching so well. Like, yeah, no, he's not. He doesn't have any reason to because there's basically only one character for him.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think like also when we get to like the end of the movie, like almost everyone at the Daily Planet knows that they're dating and that like Clark Kent is Superman, and all of the superheroes know too. So I'm like, well, if no one in the main cast
You need space
doesn't
here.
know, then like what's the point of like the difference? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But yeah, Jim, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Like, I think casting wise, the main three legs, Superman slash Clark and Lois Lane. It's great casting. They show up to work, and yeah, I really like the chemistry between Lois Lane and Superman. It might be my favorite. Um, but I haven't watched the Reeves one in a while, so I vaguely remember it. But I did rewatch Returns and recently. But no, I actually do dig, and it's believable the history they have. I do feel like, I mean, going back to the, yeah, like we're talking about how like he's able to switch characters really well. I do remember that as well, and I'm not exactly sure why people are excited about that either. But one thing I just wanted to kind of just balance, like them balancing the two identities, like something you see in Spider-Man 2, where Peter Parker is just trying to balance being Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and sometimes sometimes you kind of see one alter ego have to take more of that, take more of the role in his life, while the other one is. I think this might be my favorite Lex Luthor on screen. I don't know if that might. I don't know. I haven't seen Smallville entirely, so if anyone disagrees, I will say that because I know he's very popular. Michael Rosenberg, for his name. Yeah, I think in comparison to Man of Steel, one of the things that was lacking relationship between him and Lois. I could never really buy it necessarily. I don't know if it's like a chemistry between them, but yeah. And when it comes to like this universe, it's where do I start? It's very different, and I guess in terms of what I've seen, like from Superman before, it kind of I wasn't sure how to like what to expect or like how to even feel about it, and it's really different for superhero films. you're really just jumping in the middle. I feel like in that first 30 minutes, I was really unsure if like this was really working. Like,
Dude, yeah.
yeah, it's like like pacing and everything. It does pick up later on, but yeah, 30 minutes. I was really just unsure. Um, yeah, but I think it does its job. Like, it obviously, I think it does the bare minimum. It just sets up the universe, and I think it'll get enough people interested for what's to come. I mean, I'm already interested regardless of how this movie is. There's like these projects, but it was interesting to see my friend yesterday. It's more casual, and they're really wanting to see where this goes. But at the end of the movie, they're like, is this a sequel? Like, was there movies I missed? And I was like, no, yeah, this is the start of like a whole universe. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was like I agree with most of the Superman stuff. I think that Superman was good. James Cornsweet was good, and um, like I think that like I don't think like the Superman role is like something that like oh like he's gonna be the like big scene stealer everywhere, but like he didn't get enough for me to like him and want to see him more, and so like that was chill. But like what you're saying with like the first 30 minutes, I was like when it pops up on screen like, hey, yo, 3 minutes ago he just lost his first battle. I was like, yo, that's really cool. We're gonna like see Superman defeated for the first time, and I like assumed it was like, oh, he's gonna land there, and then we're gonna do like oh like 3 hours earlier and that kind of thing. But then we just didn't, and I think like one of my biggest frustrations with movies is like how like James Gunn decides to start the movie and like not include the scene of Superman invading or like interfering or intervening, whatever, with like the Bravia Jarin Per like thing, and also not showing him get defeated for the first time. And then I think this is something that I saw on second watch because I think I got that feeling too of like, ayo, like, did I forget something? Did I like miss like some information? Like, was there something that like I should have known going into this? Because I was like, oh, like I feel like I'm kind of like playing catch up for a lot of the first 30 minutes. But when I watched it the second time, I like realized that like the first 30 minutes are like it's almost all just like exposition. I was like, whoa. I was surprised, and I think the first time when watching it through, it's like it doesn't read off as exposition as much because I'm just like trying to take in the world and taking like the conflict and like where Superman's at and where Lois is at or whatever. But like the second time I watched it, I was like, oh, like every other line is just like a weird like aside of them like
No, yeah.
explaining what happened, and I was like, this is like I don't know. It felt like what am I watching almost in a way. It felt like pretty CW in some like respects. I don't know if you like felt that too.
No, I felt that because I have a good example. It's when he's fighting the Hammer or Boravia. Is that the name? The Hammer Boravia.
Yeah.
The guy in general in the beginning, and they're like, this is spoilers. Can I say spoilers?
Oh yeah, we can hit spoilers now. For sure.
Okay. So in the fight, Lex Luthor is obviously controlling the fight, and they're like, it's almost like his every exact move, and they're like, yes, he's been studying him for the last 3 years and knows his exact like fighting pattern and all of that, and it just felt like a lot of like inserted exposition, so that way we could be like, okay, I guess that makes sense, and but yeah, there's definitely a lot of that first 30 minutes because it really is like it's a lot to expect for people just to come in and really not by all of it. But yeah, it's not really done in like a really smooth or organic way. I think in some instances it is, but yeah, no, like that one audio or side really kind of just reminded me what we're talking. I'm sure there's like many more instances as well in the first 30.
Yeah, and I think it's like I think a lot of what James Gunn was trying to do was like, oh, okay, we're not gonna do no like origin stories. We're not gonna do no like setting up this whole world. We're just gonna like I don't want to do this thing where like I have to start from scratch. We're just like boom, we're like in a world that's populated with superheroes, and I think that is like cool in a way, like in comparison to how like Marvel started, of just like boom, like we got history in this world, we got lanterns, we got Kryptonians already, we got this stuff. But I was thinking like to some extent like AO like most Marvel movies I'll end up watching with my parents or like either in theaters or on streaming, and they'll follow them. Like I think they'd call themselves Marvel fans, but like I'm thinking like, Ayo, if like I show them this movie, I feel like they would be kind of almost lost in a lot of ways of just like, oh, like who is this random character? Like, like what is this happening? And just yeah, I think I'm curious for just like the general population, like what that kind of like looks like.
In my
But
last
yeah,
screening, there was someone that yelled, "He has a dog!" I just thought it was so funny to me because like I didn't think about that. Maybe there's probably there's a dog in like Superman mythology or whatever. Or like, yeah,
That's actually crazy that like homie like avoided all of the marketing of crypto and
Yeah,
slowed up to
that's
the
crazy.
movie and like was like, "Oh, I didn't know that there was a dog there." Cuz like crypto was everywhere, bro.
he really was. I mean, he was the first trailer was like framed. It's but I also think people probably see him in the movie and they're like unsure, or in the trailer they're probably like, so what's with the dog? Is it his dog, or like, if you're like really out of touch. I mean,
Yeah, probably. Um but yeah, kind of talking about like what Kay was saying earlier of just like comparisons of Supermans in relation to the previous ones and like kind of like what this kind of Superman is and how he's like a little bit more just like maybe less relatable or just like more naive, more like good, less realistic. Um, I don't know, like in talking about the like character arc of Superman, like I felt like it was almost like the maybe most like lowest hanging fruit that like they could have done for like I don't know, like the main message of just like, oh, like your choices and your actions defines you, not like what your parents say, like or what like other people say you are, which I feel like is like almost Superman 101, like given that he like he's an alien but he's striving to like be a good, kind, better person. Um and I feel like I don't know how many Superman movies we've had. It's like maybe like 8 or 9 or something. I was kind of like surprised that like there wasn't something more almost.
I
I
think
don't know what
that's
yeah,
a
y'all think.
fair point.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
agree.
mean, I'm trying to think of what other kind of core message they really could have had. I mean, apart from the political ones, which we can discuss in more detail in a bit, I'm sure. But um, I don't know. I mean, I think in terms of like what the best message for a Superman film to have is, I don't think that this was it. Um, I mean, like the twist that I guess kind of set up the plot to be able to tell that angle was. Are we allowed to? We're good for spoilers, right?
Oh
Or
yeah, let's spoil away, spoil away.
okay, yeah. So I guess at some point in the film, pretty early on, actually, it wasn't like too deep, or maybe it was like a quarter of the way through, a little more. Um, we find out that the message that Kal-El was sent to Earth with from his parents, the Superman had grown up viewing that clip for years, but there was a part of it that was missing. And they told him like how much they loved him, and they were sending him to Earth to do great things, kind of thing. And he kind of made up the rest about what those great things were. And come to find out, they're able to recover the rest of the clip, and they find out that his parents had sent him to Earth to rule and kind of be like like a god to them, be so much more powerful than them, and to rule them because they're simple and all that kind of stuff. And then people immediately turn on him, which again was not particularly realistic. But um yeah, I don't think it did that nearly as well as the Snyderverse Superman did. Even the Snyderverse Superman wasn't even like explicitly even doing that. Like people kind of made that up because he was so powerful, kind of thing. But I don't think that that came across super well for me personally. I don't know. I didn't find it all that believable. So I'm not sure if that was meant to be the core message of the film. But if it was, then that makes me like it slightly less because I don't know.
I think
I don't think it was super strong.
yeah, I think like I thought it was like a interesting twist. I was like, oh, like this is cool. Like I think like it would push Clark into like a or not even Clark, but just Superman. Clark doesn't exist in this movie. Like it pushed him into like an interesting like space of like because like I think there's like some potential for parallels of like, oh, the people he idolized, his parents, right? Like, oh, like when seeing who they really are, like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to idolize them anymore. And like him being an idol for so many like kids and people, like I think that's what like the movie was trying to be of like, oh, like Superman, he's this inspiration. These people look up to him and all this stuff. Like, I think it was had some interesting things there, but um, like he finds out about like the message and then he like goes into like a building to like be sad and like take deep breaths or whatever. Um, and then he like finds out about crypto. And then for the next like 35 minutes, we're in this like freaking pocket universe where he's just kind of like, I don't know, like swimming in this like anti-proton river. And like, I think like the interesting things of like that like turn of like the doctored message, or not, it's not even a doctored message, it's a real message. Like they didn't like capitalize it or like linger on it or like explore it very much. It's like I don't know, he's just kind of like, "Oh, I'm sad." But it's also like quickly explained away, right? It's like, "Oh, like, well, don't be sad because like that's not you." You know, it's like yeah, it was like you said, I think not super well realized and also like I think when thinking about it with like Zack Snyder's Superman, right? Like I think Man of Steel has its problems, but like I think Man of Steel did a good job of being like, yo, Superman is just like so far and above and beyond like humans. Like he is like he could literally just kill anyone if he wanted to in like in a split second. Um and like he kind of stands alone as that like singularity and that like super powerful metahuman, right? But I think partially like in a world that has had like superheroes and metahumans and like gods and monsters for 300 years and also like the Justice Gang that are like very like powerful and also like an Ultraman and a Hammer of Bravia who beats him in like even though they're the same person like who beats him in like 5 seconds. I'm like I think maybe like the fear of Superman of them being like oh no he's out to get us like it didn't hit as hard as like it did in the Man of Steel. Like it didn't seem like oh like people would really be scared of him and like turn on him. Um and so I don't know yeah that was kind of like I was like ah like good potential and good starts of it but yeah, not fully well realized, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really hard for that to really come through in a universe like this. Like you said, when it's been around this long, metahumans, gods, and monsters, like we really don't know like what these people have encountered already. There's probably been things worse than Superman that have shown up in this universe, from all we know. You know, so in
Yeah,
an
and
yeah,
they just like I think this was during the 45 seconds or a minute or however long the text was at the beginning. They called him like the most powerful metahuman of all, right? Um, or something like that. And I thought that that was interesting because it's like if that's the way you're going to establish that Superman is like the most powerful character by just kind of saying it and it wasn't like shown in any way. In fact, everything we saw was to the contrary, actually.
He got
Um,
beat up a lot
and
this movie, bro.
yeah, the entire film he was getting mollywomped. And I'm like, well, yeah. So I think what you were saying again, why another reason why I didn't think that the whole them turning on him immediately was super realistic was just that it's like, yeah, man, like I don't know if he is the most powerful, and if he is, he certainly hasn't shown it. I mean, all he's done is protect people from things that are seemingly as powerful, if not like maybe just slightly less powerful than him, and and then throughout the entire movie, it's like, I don't know, the power scaling made it seem like I don't think anybody is ever going to fear this guy. Like, I mean, there's not really much of a reason to. Not that he was weak or anything. And again, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad portrayal of the character. I just think that in comparison to what people are expecting, or even what I've heard people say about it, I'm like, I don't know if he's that. So, um, yeah,
when it
Yeah.
comes to the message with his parents, I really don't feel like they drive it home that it's a doctored mess. I mean that it's a authentic message. I still feel like it leaves a lot of room for doubt, or at least in how they say it. Like, I mean, they have like a scene like, "Nah, Clark, I know these guys. You know, they wouldn't lie about this." But I mean, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like the way they went about it. I feel like a lot of people could be leaving theater and be like, maybe it was Doctor. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So that's something really interesting. Like my younger cousin, he watched it yesterday, and we were texting about it today, this morning, and he was like, I was asking him his thoughts, and he was like, "Oh, this and that," and he was like, "But I have one big question though." He asked me, "So like, was like the message like actually real or was it fake?" Like I couldn't understand that part, and I was like, "Oh, interesting." So yeah, like I think like exactly like you said, like at least he like just like went away like confused and like I think yeah it felt like quickly like oh yep it's authentic because Lex Luthor said it, you know, it's like okay
it does. I do think it might be just me theorizing, but I do think it might come up in the future, possibly, maybe, depending. You know, maybe like someone could have helped him doctorate it. I don't know, but I do think
okay
it'll come up again at some point in the future. Have some, yeah, but yeah,
I could see that um I like I think like conceptually I think it's like a pretty cool idea of like um and I think it kind of almost like makes sense too like that like I don't know like it makes sense that like a advanced space society would be like, yeah, just like try to go take over like other place, especially if you're like dying out and just trying to like keep your like species alive. Like that makes sense to like what do they say, like spread your seed and take many wives and like conquer or whatever, or rule or whatever.
Yeah.
And like there were a few parts of like that little message that I thought was goofy, of like at the end, like Bradley Cooper says like, and rule without mercy with like a strong fist or something. I'm like, bro, like if this is like your one message to your son, like why would you say that?
That second half of the message feels tonally inconsistent from the first two. You guys kind of like feel
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. It's definitely plot contrived, like to some
For
extent,
sure.
of like, oh, like yeah, the first half is like, I love you so much and you're amazing and you're like our only hope, and also like go kill people and like have kids so that my genes can prevail. It's like okay, but I do like the concept because I think it is like it's interesting. I think it's been done before in Smallville, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah.
I think like in like the movie, it's like they use it more of kind of like a just as a way to like contrive like Lex's plan working, of like getting people turned against them in a way that's like not very realistic, like Kay said. But I think like the more interesting part is like what it would do to, like Superman internally, and like what it does to his psyche. Which like they don't have time to like explore that at all. Like they don't care about that at all. Like I feel like there's like interesting questions that it brings up, like, oh, what is that like given what like his parents think about like the people of Earth, like these simple-minded, dumb, slow people, versus like his perspective. He like loves them and thinks they're like cool and like values life a lot. And like, what does that mean to like for him and like the parents that he always looked up to? Or like, what does that mean for like his definition of hope? And like, also like that was his like soothing message when he's like hurting and struggling. And like, I think there was a lot there that could have been like explored, or just like I don't know, like a beat on. But like, yeah, this movie just like doesn't have time for it, or like doesn't care to like explore that.
I
But I
do
also
like
think like
that. Oh,
oh,
go
go for
ahead.
it, go for it. No, you got
I
it.
was I was just gonna say, like, I really kind of not related, but I do like the growth in Clark or Superman in this film, where we kind of see like he does question. I don't think he's still doesn't fully see himself as like a part of humanity, or as like as a human. He has like these conversations with Lois. Nah, like that music sucks, or that's not punk rock, bro. Like you don't know what rock is. And I think there's a couple other instances, and I kind of feel like by the end of the story, we feel like he replaces the videos he had of his Kryptonian parents with videos he has of his earthbound, or of his earthly parents. And I think he finally kind of comes more accept, like, like I am a part of these people, and I think that message that gets released kind of helps him realize that more. Yeah, no, like I don't identify with that, or like just probably felt very alienated from like Krypton and everything. But I do feel like that's something I kind of like picked up all throughout the film. I really do feel like he accepted himself more as like our part of humanity.
Yeah. And I also think like we've said a lot of negative, or maybe not negative, or maybe critical things of the movie so far, but um I like really did enjoy like the scene at home at the farm with his parents. And I just like thought like it was like their like just like genuine compassion and care for their son. And like the idea of like, oh, like Podge, like he becomes mush when it comes to Clark. I was like, oh, like that is like really cute, and just like kind of I really like that shot too, when like Lois is like looking around his room and like she sees the Mighty Crabjoy's like poster, and she
Mm-hmm.
realizes like, oh, like he wasn't just kidding, like he like actually legitimately like in a earnest way like likes this band and thinks that they're super cool. And so like little stuff like that, I thought that was good. I also thought like the conversation between um Clark and Paul, like when he's just eating his like cereal with like his shoes off or whatever, like it was like cute and pretty good. Like it wasn't anything like mind blowing, but like I thought it was effective. And um like I think the first time, that ending scene where like he's like, hey yo, can you play like the video of my parents? And like it was like, oh, the earthly parents. I was like, oh, like that makes sense, but it didn't like really hit. But like the second time I watched it, I was like, I don't know, maybe it was because like I'm just like working with kids more often nowadays. But like I was like, it kind of hit. I was like, oh, this is like sweet. I like this is cute. I don't know. And so I really did like the parent relationship. Something that I thought was interesting, that like I think was like when we first get introduced to Ma and Pa, like it's on a phone call, um, and like Ma's like, "Hey yo, like Pa says to not be a stranger, and it's okay." Like you can come home sometime, or like something like that, to affect some like effect of like, oh, like it seems like Superman doesn't come back from Metropolis very often, and like he seems maybe distant and like not very
Mm-hmm.
connected to his human parents. So I kind of like see what you're saying, like Jim, of like, oh, he kind of embraces that like human family aspect more of it. And I kind of just like wish that there was maybe more of like the parents, and I don't know, like in comparison to like Man of Steel, where like his parents are like played by like two pretty famous actors. I forget their name, like
Kevin
Kevin
Costner.
Costner and
I don't remember
the
those.
other lady. The other lady, I've definitely seen her in other things. But like they just felt like so like down to earth, real, regular people who like just like care about their son. And, like it's cool to think like, oh yeah, like Superman, like a big deal, just like crashed into like two random homies like backyard, you know. So that's something I did really enjoy, like
It's gonna hit really
about like the
hard
parent stuff.
when Paul inevitably dies. Well, that's if they try to go down that traditional route, right? But I was thinking about that, and I really
Yeah,
like their relationship, and it might make me moist up in the eyes, man.
dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I like I didn't moist up in the eyes, but there was like a little glimmer of like moisture in my eye, like that second time. I was like, oh, this is like cute, like with the punk rock song. I was like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
like this. But um, all right, yeah, we've talked critically about a lot of things. Tell me something that you guys liked about the movie, something that was good that you're like, this is what it should be.
If I can hop in, I would say Lex Luthor is probably my favorite part of the movie. For like 99% of it until the very end. I didn't like that, but
Mm.
um, I don't know. Obviously, Nicholas Holt was great. Find it really funny that he auditioned for the role of Superman and then didn't get it, and then was cast as Lex instead. That's hilarious. Um, but I think what I liked about him was, I mean, you're seeing obviously a lot of memes online about this, about him being like a professional hater or like just the absolute biggest hater in the world. Um, like I think Melody described him as an Olympic level hater, which I thought was super funny. Um, yeah, and I think he played that aspect of Lex really well. I haven't really liked too many of the Lex Luthors I've seen on screen in the past. Granted, I haven't seen Smallville, so I mean I've seen parts of Smallville, but not too much of Lex Luthor himself. But yeah, this guy's like a villain that was believable, a lot more than I found. Goodness, I hope I'm getting. Is it Jesse Eisenberg who played him in the Snyderverse? Is
Yeah.
that right? Yeah. Um, that version of him, obviously he was evil and like scary in a like creepy kind of way. Um, but I don't know. This Lex was just like, yeah, this is exactly what I imagine. Like a comic book like evil leader of a corporation to be like. And I mean that'll go into my other like favorite thing about the film was while this is not necessarily my favorite genre because I do believe that um yeah, it's great to get a comic book movie on screen. I think realistically comic books just don't transfer to the screen that well. And I think that's what people have been realizing over the years, that like, oh, making a movie that feels like a comic book is like it doesn't really work. Like the comic is usually always better. But I think this is the best like comic book feeling movie I've seen in quite a long time for sure, because and that's what makes a lot of things less believable, and maybe why it's not necessarily my favorite genre. But I think Gunn did that very, very well. Like, it feels like a comic book. It feels like several stories, like you're just hopping in the middle, and you're kind of thrown right into it. And I think that makes this movie not for everyone. I know a little bit ago you were talking about how like, oh yeah, if I brought certain people to come see this, they're going to be like, oh, is this a sequel or like. I don't understand this, and I think that that's okay. This movie doesn't have to be for everyone. I don't think every film that is ever made has to like always, include everyone who's watching it. Like, I know that that's like a crazy thing to say at this point, but like, yeah, not all movies are made for you. Um, and I don't know. I think that was like good. I think that's a cool concept. Like, to be able to see like a week in the life of Superman. He's doing this one thing that sort of kind of ends, but maybe it'll carry over a little bit. The next day, he's dealing with something different. And it really feels like you're reading the book. You can just pick up anywhere and like get to see a different adventure of Superman. And I think that was cool.
Yeah, to jump in on what you're talking about, like I think Lex Luthor's favorite part think a lot of people are gonna say that. Honestly, I loved his intro. I think his intro is just really epic. You know, the sun, like the glare, of the kind of like blocking him out of view by. He flies by, face on it. Like I said, like it's just a rare
Hey,
thing.
yo,
in this movie.
you cutting out a little bit. You cutting out a little bit.
Oh, okay. I was saying that I liked Lex Luthor, and I just liked his intro a lot. His intro in this movie was really like I really liked when Superman's flying by, and you don't see Lex Luthor's face fully because of the glare in the sun, and then after he flies by, you fully see his face, and you see the hatred in his face, and the score is just kicking. It's a rare moment when the score is hitting, at least in this movie, and I really like that. And also what you're talking about earlier about like these movies don't need to cater to everyone. They really don't, and yeah, it's crazy that like we do got to talk about that this, but I really just I love that comic book films are going this direction. Like I just love reading comic books and like things like this. Like I just want it to be more serialized. I don't need every film to like have like a groundbreaking arc. I'm okay with it just being a adventure or just like whatever happens. But yeah, I mean, I don't need the status quo to always change and everything.
I agree. I think that's like one of my maybe biggest nitpicks of Marvel, or not nitpicks. Maybe it's a nitpick. I don't know. When it comes to like the Avengers film, like the first one, it's like assembling the Avengers. Second one is Age of Ultron. The third one is like obviously they're already broken up. And like we're into Infinity War, and I love Age of Ultron so much because it's kind of like you said, like that, like random, just like oh, a a week in the life of the Avengers, just kind of like no one's like dying, no one is breaking the team apart. We don't have to get teams together. It's just like them being them and being a team and like just like seeing them fight a baddie. And like that's kind of like yeah, that's the vibe of Superman. It's just like oh like something that's happening today. And I think the only thing that like frustrates me is like it seems I think I heard an interview with James Gunn that he said like oh like Superman 2 isn't really in the works right now, but you're like we'll see him like in other projects and stuff. And like I would just like give me another Superman 2. Like I'm cool with that. Like I would like to see that again. But to disagree with Kay on what he said earlier, um, I think I know you said like you like Lex Luthor 99% until the very end, where I think your thing is that he cries and folds too quickly. I actually loved it when he like cried and like looked at Superman. Because like I like the idea that like he is super envious. He knows that he's envious, and that he's like charged by envy because like Superman's strength makes him feel weak. Um, and the idea that he just got like ragdolled by like not even Superman, but Superman's dog. And I think he starts crying when like the video pops up that like oh Lex Luthor is actually like the bad guy or whatever, and like Superman we're so sorry, we should have like trusted you or whatever. And like I think there like it's not just like he doesn't want to just like tear down Superman's reputation, but like he wants to build his up at like the expense of Superman, and seeing like that flip on his head, like that, like just like filled him with so much like hatred and like just disgust. And like I think as he's like staring there, with like the .5 fisheyes camera on his like bald head, as he's staring there at Superman, just like hating at him, like he's like crying because he's like so frustrated that like Superman won. And like I kind of like that in almost a way of like, oh, this is like an origin story to Lex Luthor's hate. Like even though like he's been like for 3 years or many years he's been studying him or whatever. Like the idea that like, oh, like I want to see Lex Luthor come back again and again and try to like kill Superman or like, you know, destroy Superman's legacy or like this and that again. And I want to see that like hatred continue over time. And like I think that's something that we haven't seen in a lot of like Superman or not in Superman movies, superhero movies in general. But like recurring villains and heroes that go against each other again and again and again. And I think that like that's something that like is exciting, that like oh we established a villain like who is cool and that we like and that has like a good performance and like he has a type of aura, not like a great kind. But like I'm cool and excited to see him like again and again, I think.
That ending scene frustrates me a lot, and it's not because of Lex Luthor. It's because of Crypto. You know, the both these actors are doing an amazing job in this
Ooh,
film.
yeah.
You know, they finally have this moment to just act off of each other, and then I think we're at like at the peak of it, and then just Crypto has to come in and like kind of just have a comedic moment. You know, like Hulk from the Avengers movie. kind of, and it was just really frustrating for me. But I don't like David Cornsweet's monologue as much as Luther's, but I mean it gets the message across. And then unrelated, but I do like that this movie took the choice of having Lex and Superman meet the first time in this movie. I thought that was really interesting that they hadn't met before, but there was a line early in the film when they first met. They're like, "We finally meet," and I just thought that was really interesting. They've gone 3 years hating each other, probably having other conflict. Maybe he didn't know it wasn't as direct, kind of like what this was with the Hammer Baravia, but it's just really interesting to think about that. And I'm sure Superman or slash Clark has known for this long that Lex hates him. I don't know how. I kind of do wonder like how he handled that in his day to day life before. But yeah, I kind of like that decision that they finally meet now. Kind of just feels like you're kind of saying like the relationship just feels like it's kind of forming or just starting, or what it really is, or what it's really going to be.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I have mixed opinions on like that monologue at the end when he comes in. He's like, "I'm a human because I make mistakes, but put like one foot in front of the other." And I'm like, okay, like that's cool. Like I think we like kind of get that point, and like that's not something that needs to be like hammered in super much. But I think David Cornsweet like he like delivers it well. Um, but like the line that I do like is like, um, he like says something like, "Oh, like Lex, my greatest strength is my humanity, and I hope that one day, for like the sake of the world, like you realize that that's your strength too, or greatest strength too." And I like that idea of like Superman is like trying to appeal and like see the best in Lex and like be like, hey, like you could be like better and like you don't have to be this way. And like I enjoy that, and I was like, oh, like I like that he's still trying, and like there's like an endearing nature of like that Boy Scoutness of like just trying to like continue to get through to the bad guy that I liked. Um, but yeah, like the crypto coming in, I was like, okay, this is like it feels like a James Gunn thing almost. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Someone should have told James Gunn or like I just forgot his name, but David yeah Cornsweet. They should have like because it just comes off like Anthony Mackie did in the Winter Soldier. Like, show, don't tell. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it just didn't feel very like organic. It just didn't fit really well, or at least in how it was executed.
I agree. I agree. Talking about kind of like James Gunn and stuff, like I know that like James Gunn, like homie is like perpetually online all the time, responding to every fan, doing a bunch of interviews. He was like all over the press for like the media junkets for like this movie and stuff. And like I feel like he was like being promoted as much as like if not more than like David Cornsweet, which I think is interesting. But like in terms of because he's the director, the creative head, and the writer, and basically every like um, what do you guys think about like James Gunn's direction, his choices, the decisions that he made? You know, like in the vein of Podkent saying, "Your actions, your choices, they make you who you are." Like, what do we think about James Gunn's actions and choices and how they made this Superman movie what it is?
It's a good question. Um, I don't know. I think it's definitely interesting. It's a different direction than the Snyderverse for sure. I don't necessarily think it's better. I think well, for me personally, um, whether or not you think it's better, I think should be like a personal preference kind of thing, like whether or not you enjoy this kind of storytelling. But I think the thing that like has been touted in the media a ton is that this is the film that's supposed to be kicking off this universe. This is what's leading the way. This is what's going to be like setting the tone for everything. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's certainly not bad. It's not a bad start. Having metahumans kind of be something way more normal, like has essentially with one line of text, like just eliminated the need for like most origin stories. A lot of them probably like either won't happen or will be just kind of glossed over, which is fine. I don't necessarily mind that. I think that's more comic booky because like obviously you only really need one origin comic, and then after that you can pick up anywhere in the story and kind of see it a whole new adventure. um and I think that's not bad. I think my guess would be what he was thinking when he decided to do that was like, I don't want this to turn into Marvel where the problem they ran into was that they've told so many big monumental stories that have kind of changed everything. And once you've told like your really, really big stories, it's like, oh, does any of this really matter anymore? Like what is important? But when you
Yeah.
instead do the kind of more serialized thing that we were talking about, you can hop in at any point, tell any kind of story, and it's interesting because it's different. And what sets it apart isn't the fact that it's monumental, it's just the fact that it's unique or a different story than you got to tell the time before. And obviously, Marvel's run into a huge issue with that, so they've had to like change the way that they tell the stories. They've done it through TV shows to be like, oh, like it doesn't matter that this is less important because like we're doing it as a TV show, so maybe people won't notice that this story doesn't feel as like monumental or groundbreaking or anything like that. And then we'll save
True.
the super big stories for the movies. But then they've created all this media, so now it just feels like everything kind of just feels like, oh, this is not really that important. Like people aren't flocking to see these films anymore, even if they are good, even if the story is great. It's just it doesn't feel super important. So I think James Gunn kind of deciding from the get go, I'm going to make sure that like we're able to like preemptively avoid that issue by like right from the jump we're going to say like metahumans have been around for a long time, it's not that crazy. We're just going to tell a bunch of stories, stories that people are interested in, stories that like within themselves feel important but in like the larger universe kind of thing, like they're not watered down by each other. So I think that's like that's good from a like money making standpoint. um I think the peak of this, or at least the maximum potential I see for it is probably, in my opinion, at least I know people will see this differently. In my opinion, the max potential of this is like less exciting and interesting than like the max potential of Avengers, because obviously like they built up over several films to this incredibly huge event that brings everyone together. Like that was just one of the most incredible cinema experiences I've ever had because it
Oh
just
yeah, I don't
felt
think anything's
so
topping that.
big. Yeah, it just felt so big and so important. And this, the way it's set up, it like it can't do that again because I mean, with at least not without running into the same issue that Marvel eventually ran into. But I don't know. I think from a money making standpoint, it's like okay, we can probably prolong this for longer, but the peak of it is just not going to be as exciting or cool or it's not going to feel like earth shaking.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like that's almost like what I feel like I've talked to Jim about, which is like, man, like just give me like a good story, like without having to have the like overbearing like larger narrative that this needs to tie into this or like this needs to build to this and like I think that's something that like I appreciated about Superman. Like it was yes, like there's a lot on its shoulders to like quote unquote launch this new DC universe or whatever, and like DC has had a lot to prove, especially because like their last 5, 6, 7, 8 movies were kind of pretty not so great. But like it wasn't like I was setting or James Gunn was setting up a bunch of different things. Like he had a bunch of different random characters everywhere. But like in recent Marvel, like Marvel Phase 4, Phase 5, every like supporting character would be like set up for like a spin-off show. Like you'd have like um what the frick, like the Ironheart girl, or like some random people from a Disney Plus show come up and like um even though there were a lot of random like side characters that like maybe like didn't always make so much sense to be in there, like it wasn't like, oh, like James Gunn is using this as a launching point to like spin off to this next thing. It was just like, oh, like these are people that exist in this world, and like that's kind of it. And like, which is like you said, it's a very comic booky thing, like of just like, hey, yo, this person shows up for like 3 panels of this page, and like, yeah, like that's kind of how it works. Um, which yeah, I thought like leaning into that comic bookiness is like maybe like that is like kind of the future of like superhero movies. Like I think when Marvel was at its height, like that's when it was like this was the mainstream thing that dominated. And like I don't think like superhero movies are going to be that anymore. And like I think that we're already kind of past that. Where like everyone is like going to go see like every Marvel movie or every DC movie or whatever. I think like maybe like it can just like become like the superhero genre can turn into like maybe like just like a more niche genre that like yeah, like returning back to kind of like what it was before of like, oh, like yeah, like the hardcore homies are gonna like watch it and enjoy it and like yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's like the future for these kind of like superhero movies and stuff like that.
I think one thing that they really need to do, if they're gonna like go full on to like me and just cater to like the group of people they know that movies, they really do for like all projects, TV shows, films. Like you can't just keep making like $200 to $300 million, to get that kind of turnout. If that kind of just one audience, really getting that, like you said earlier, all of your movies. What's going? And I get it's kind of hard in superhero nature, like so much CGI and all, but I'm people back there that can really get creative and just find, and not every superhero movie needs the just have huge stakes or anything. Like I know this Clayface movie coming, I think it's like 50 million less. Granted, character. I don't expect there to be like fights in Superman, but I really hope they just move that direction overall.
Yeah, I agree. Like we got to get budgets and control like across the board kind of thing. But yeah, okay. When you like were talking about CGI, it made me think like something that I found interesting was like I think I saw this movie's like $200 million, which like it's a big budget superhero movie. But I was like I don't feel like when I'm thinking back at the action set pieces or like the big like I don't know, the action wasn't like super like fun or engaging to me. And like the flying wasn't super cool. I don't know, maybe like because maybe it's just because I just had watched F1 and like F1 just like top tier amazing action and fun and like racing and just like thrills and stuff. But thoughts on like the action and the fighting, I was just kind of like, oh, like this is like I don't know. It was maybe underwhelming. But yeah, thoughts?
No, I feel like the action was definitely like it wasn't the highlight of the film, and I think kind of knew. Like I don't think they were really trying to focus on it for that much. Like when I rewatch Man of Steel, like this action is insane. It still holds up. It looks almost too much of it. Some Michael Bay transfer stuff. But anyways, back to like Superman 2025. I mean, I just I don't think that's what they were trying to like go for. I think with this movie, but I do think the CGI itself it looks fine. It kind of looks weird or a little off key in some places. I'm not sure to like kind of be like, oh, maybe that's the style because it's supposed to be very comic booky. Like there's that thing, that famous little clip, punches dude in the face. It looks a little weird to me. I mean, it looks a little like rubbery, CGI-ish, whatever. But it's not like as bad as the Flash. Like you can tell they obviously have money. They took their time. And on the topic of visual things, we've talked about this before. The color grading is pretty bad. It's I made a joke about it earlier or a few days ago, but it really does. And like some scenes, it looks like they put them. I do think there's some good like points in the movie. Like you have like a good like frame. Like I think everyone kind of brings up like that where he's in the river in the black hole. I mean that looks really cool. Or like there's certain framing where like he's in the sky coming back from the farm. I like that one a lot where he picks up the bridge. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I think my
there's
favorite shot. Oh, sorry, go for it.
No, I was just saying. I think there's some good stuff like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought like the Pocket universe. I was like, I don't know, maybe like my eyes kind of just like glazed over. I was like, oh, it's just like this Rainbow Road down there, and like things are happening, and like I don't really know where's what. But one shot that I really did like was, I think after he saved, like that woman's trying to drive away in the car or whatever, and like he like stops the building, and then she drives away, yay, whatever, and then like the whole sky is just filled with like smoke and clouds and all this stuff. And then like you just see the silhouette of like Superman slowly flying up and like coming out of like I was like, that looks cool. That was like a cool shot. Um but yeah, like I feel like yeah, I agree. Like it seems like a little bit I feel like I could tell when like, hey yo, Superman, that is David Corn Sweat like actually doing a something versus like, oh yeah, this is just like a fully CGI like person or figure or whatever. Um But yeah, I don't know. Thoughts, K, on the visuals or the visual? Yeah, I don't know how it looked in the spectacle.
Nothing to write home about, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess where the budget went, I would have assumed it was towards like I guess the monsters and maybe like the pocket dimension. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. I don't think it was super crazy. I don't know if people were expecting it to be. I guess maybe I didn't hear too much about that in the promotion for it. Um, so yeah, I guess maybe I'm a little ill-informed on that. But I think it was fine. I think like if a CW show had the budget of this movie, oh my gosh,
It would be
wow.
amazing.
It'd be so good. I think that's why like I like the CW show, or I liked the CW shows, and why I stuck out watching so many of them for so long, even though they were like all bad. It's because like you could tell that like it was just a budget issue for the most part. Like the writing started to suck because they're forced to stretch out these story arcs over an entire season, um, and the budget is also not getting any bigger, so the CGI gets worse as well. And oh man, if because I mean, yeah, the way that this movie was structured is like, yeah, it's literally like season 2, episode 1 of Superman, basically. Um, you know, um, and not that that's bad or anything, but um, I think visually, I would have expected like a lot more. Um, Again, like I said, I'm not sure if people were expecting more, but um, I like the action in Man of Steel a lot, just because it was realistic. And I don't think every movie needs to be realistic. Again, like we were talking about before, not every movie needs to be for everyone. So if you're more into this kind of like, I guess, goofier, kind of more comic-y fighting style, which I guess James Gunn is known for in like a lot of the sequences in uh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the Mr. Terrific scene was like just so obviously Yondu. Like um,
Yeah. Yeah.
the entire time, that's what I was thinking. Is like, oh yeah, James Gunn very clearly made this movie. But um, I think there are a couple cool shots that I remember that who knows if James Gunn is even the one who came up with them, but clearly he approved them. So I'm like, okay, yeah, they know they're nice to look at, but this movie's not winning any Oscars or anything.
Yeah.
Not to say it's bad, but I think for spectacle, especially like you said, after seeing F1, like this one's certainly not really doing anything for me.
No, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. And I think, okay, you said something. You were like talking about like, oh, like in the way that like it was marketed. I think like I agree that it wasn't maybe like marketed as much of like an action movie thing, but it reminded me of a thought that like I was kind of doing on, and I think this might be like maybe it connects to like my biggest like problem that I have with the movie, like my most frustrating point. Um, but like I think the first official trailer is basically mostly just like the interview scene between Lois and Clark, right? Where they kind of like argue about Superman intervening in like this like international war conflict thing. And I was like, oh, like this seems like a pretty cool like scene. And like as a journalism major, I was like, oh, like look at Lois like asking some good hard questions and like this is good. And I was like, I can't wait for like when I go watch the movie for the movie to give me more context about the scene and for me to understand like the context of this like conversation. So like, it can mean more. And then I got to the movie and it didn't do any of that because it was just that was the context. Anyways, like I think like me personally being a more, I don't know, negative Nancy person, like I align more with like Lois's kind of way of like thinking of like questioning everything and like trying to like figure out like what is real and like not taking everything at face value. And I think like yeah, like my reaction is often just like, oh, Superman, like you did like the wrong thing, or like crossing international borders and bypassing laws and physically like pushing a world leader against like a cactus or whatever. Like it comes off as like rash and impulsive and stupid in like my mind. Um, but I think there's like an interesting kind of like setup there in that like scene of where like, oh, like Superman is naive, but just like he wants to do good and like he is pure and genuine and compassionate like to people who like are in trouble, while like Lois is like out here trying to be like, yo, you can't just go into into everything guns blazing, and you have to like think through the implications of your actions, and like you represent more than just yourself, that kind of thing. Um, and yeah, I think that's like super cool that like this is a conflict that like affects Superman on like a huge world global scale of like who he is as a hero in this war, but also like it is an interesting, relevant like conflict in his personal life because like this is like a philosophical like difference between him and Lois, like his like girlfriend. And I think it's really cool, and I think like there's a version of this movie where like Superman and Lois like both like learn and find middle ground and like challenge each other and push each other to change, and like that like also like ripples out into like how he approaches the like war conflict or whatever. Um, but I feel like it was done like just like it wasn't done. It was like dropped after that. Like the idea, like it feels like James Gunn didn't want to commit to that thing, even though like he came up with like the whole like Bravia plot. And like I think one of my big things that I was frustrated with that like I talked to Kay about like when we first got out of the movie was like like we don't see Superman intervene in Baravia, and like they don't show the context of the war, and they don't show like perspective of the events, and like it's just all like, exposition dialogue, and like it's like tell not show, right? It's like, and not that I would want to like see like a super political like war drama Superman movie, right? But like the conflict between Baravia and Jarge and Purr or whatever, like that reflects a lot of like current day events, and like James Gunn could have like chosen to like not write this, international war storyline. But like I feel like if you include a narrative where like Americans are intervening in like a foreign war, like you probably should have like something better to say about it. And like I don't know, I think the rest of the movie isn't about that. It's just like it only chooses to be a part of like the Bravia plot when it wants to, right? Because like the like entire conflict at the end is just like Superman is right and it's exactly as he thought he was. Like the evil nation was evil, and like there wasn't any like actual like things to like think through. It was just like, oh, like no moral gray stuff at all. It's just like bad dictator person versus like small vulnerable nation. And so like it felt like there wasn't any like hard decision or question for him to make at all. And he's like vindicated and he did everything right. But also at the end is like nothing really changed because like the Justice Gang still just like went to an international national place and like intervened and stuff. And so I feel like they really wasted like that premise. And I feel like that was like something that like I felt like happened a lot throughout the movie. Like James Gunn had good ideas that he set up that he just didn't follow through on. And so yeah, I don't know. That was my little like mini TED talk of like frustration of like they like dropped the ball there on a lot of things. And I think like that and the stuff that he kind of maybe missed with like the parent storyline and like the message, like I think those were two like much more compelling character arcs, like in comparison to what we got of like, oh, your actions are the things that define you, not like what other people say about you. And I think in I don't know where this came from, but like in the marketing of the movie it felt like, oh, like we need a Superman for like this modern age or whatever. Of like I think I was hearing a lot online of like, Superman, he's like this good guy who stands for like was it truth, justice, and the American way, or like a better tomorrow. And like it seems like he's someone that like wouldn't fit in our like real life today because it's just like everything is so like negative and divided and all this stuff. And it felt like, oh, like this is gonna be the Superman that gives us hope, and like he's gonna be like a new modern take on Superman of like how like yes, like today the modern world still needs Superman. And it felt like the beginning of the movie was like, oh, we're gonna set up how like what our take on a modern Superman in this modern world that's complicated and complex and nuanced is, and they like didn't do that. So like, yeah, I don't know, a lot of frustrating, jarbled thoughts everywhere. But I don't know. What do you guys think about my little nitpicks there and stuff?
I feel like the whole subplot of the war, if they really wanted to find a way for like to have this conflict with Superman, I don't think it was entirely necessary. And I just feel like it's very anticlimactic that Superman isn't the one to show up at the end when you have literal kids flag like Superman, Superman, So yeah, I just don't think that was a very satisfying kind of end to that war subplot. And that's kind of just reinforces more like yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I also like I think I saw like headlines on like Fox News or whatever that like, oh, like Superman is a super political movie or whatever, which like it's not like super duper political, but also like I don't know, like James Gunn didn't like cover his ass. Like you could have covered your bases and like given like the haters or like the Snyder fan crazies like no reason to attack your movie or whatever. But like James Gunn specifically like included this like foreign war American like foreign policy thing when like he really didn't need to, because like at the end of the day like not much I think came out of it. Like you could have had like Lex come up with any other way to like bring Superman down, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, if anything, it feels like it just complicates the story a bit more, especially if the whole like Ultraman kind of like pretending to be the like a super villain representing Baravia. Yeah, there we go. These names are weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baravia.
There's a lot of long words here, bro.
Jarhenper. But yeah, no, it's just I didn't feel like it's a lot. Like he's pretending to do that, and they have that sequence goes to the portals, comes back to Luthor Tower, and I'm just like, bro, like I don't know. Like
yeah.
Superman probably would have saw where he was going. Like, oh, he went to some camp on the beach of Metropolis, but I mean, I'm not gonna that for much longer. I mean,
Yeah,
and
that was
it's for
something that like I thought was really weird. I was like, yo, this like just seems like a beach, bro. Like, how do you not see
yeah,
this?
it's literally just a beach in Metropolis. It's like, yeah, I don't know if James Gunn was really gonna commit to this whole kind of like story. He should have really just done a better job at it. And I know James Gunn could write a story. I don't know if he can make good comments. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about the this is kind of shifting gears quite a bit, but Kay, what do you think about like Jimmy Olsen and like Eve and like that whole like storyline of like Mutant Toes and like how that like worked out?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I've said this today, but I certainly thought this while I was watching. This movie's like so unserious, which um if that's what you're looking for, that's fine. But um I think this kind of ties into what we were just talking about a second ago, that about the war. Like, I think the war being a subplot in this movie is like absolutely insane. Like, the fact, if you're gonna bring it up, I don't think it should have been a subplot. Like, this comic should have been like Superman and the war in Baravia or something like
Real.
that, you know?
Yeah.
But instead it was definitely like Superman and Lois about to break up with him. And then also the war in Baravia. And then also I lost my dog type thing.
Dude.
And then
Hey, his
also
foster
Lex
dog,
Luthor
his
still
foster
hates
dog.
me. Oh, right. I lost my cousin's dog. Anyway, um, yeah, I think, with stuff like Jimmy Olsen and Eve, like, super funny, hilarious. I thought that was great. Um, that being said, you know, having that be take up so much screen time in a film where, you could argue that they're really hurting for time, to tie up all of these plots that they've started. Um, I was kind of like, man, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe it's just a personal preference thing, but having that much comic relief in a movie that's like struggling so hard to finish the plot lines that it started, uh, I think that's kind of crazy, to be honest with you. But not to say I didn't find it funny. It was hilarious. Like, it came out of nowhere. Um, and I think like the jokes were funny for sure. But yeah, dude, if you're gonna make a movie about politics and then kind of ignore all of the politics because you ran out of time, like, maybe cut some of the jokes.
A lot of those Jimmy Olsen scenes, it just screams like James Gunn to me. Like he just has like a knack for like that. I don't know if the word would be sexual humor, but it's just like, yeah, just stuff like that. And well, I don't think it really fit in the film, and I think it's just a lot where other things could have been in play. I do like his scenes with Lois actually probably the most. I like Jimmy Olsen as a do with him in the universe. I do want to see more of his character. Wasn't a fan of him and Eve and like the whole like girl digs him, but like it's fine. But no, I do like the scenes a lot with good comedic things there. I mean, they also have some good comedic timing and are able to bounce off.
Yeah. I think like in my mind, because like Eve is the way that like they almost like defeat Lex Luthor, because like that's how they expose him. And I was like, this is like dumb. Like what?
So lame.
And I think like the journalist in me was like, this is absolutely just like terrible conduct. This is terrible journalism. Like this is unethical to in every sense. But definitely still happens in real life all the time, probably. So I mean, but I was just like, bruh, this is like, yeah. But like you said, okay, I was like, if this isn't for me, and I think it's funny, but like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, why are we spending time on this? Like why? Um, and I don't know. I think like the whole like as soon as I don't know what point of the movie it is, but like it's halfway through. I think it's after Lois has that like conversation with like Superman when like I don't know, there's like that intergalactic imp in the background, which like that one too. I'm like, man, we having like a heartfelt conversation, and like there's a freaking like glowy like Kirby ball outside that's getting smashed by like a baseball bat from Green Lantern. Like, what are we doing here? Um, but I feel like after that point in the movie, um, like that's where kind of like Lois gets almost like sidelined. Um, where like she has like a lot less to do, and like it's like Lois hanging out with like Mr. Terrific, which is like cool, I guess. But I feel like Lois loses a lot of her like more interesting stuff there because like she's not really doing actual journalism. Like I don't know, she just stands at like the wormhole for like I don't know 10 minutes of that scene, and she's like, "Oh no, is Superman there? Is he okay? Oh no." Um, and then also like by the end, like she's out here like flying the Daily Planet staff in like the the spaceship. I'm just like, but they also like are doing nothing in that ship. They're just like they're posting the article while they're flying around in circles, I guess. Like I don't know, like I like really I think Rachel Brosnahan is like freaking amazing. She's like great as like Lois Lane. I think probably the best I've seen. And like I think that like she just hits the balance wells of like she's like a strong, fierce like journalist while like still having like I don't know, like that like soft gentleness for Clark. But like I don't know, yeah, halfway through the movie when like she's not with Superman, I'm like she's just kind of like here again and doing stuff for no reason really. But Lois, like I think of the three, I think I might like Lois better than I like Lex's performance. But yeah, I don't
Ooh.
know.
I mean, when it comes to Lois, I feel like it's just like the same issue I mentioned of Lex. Like you have an exceptional performer here, but they're just given like they're not really given much to work with. There's not much material there, at least for the second half. I mean, Lois does have some things to work with up until Superman goes to prison, but everything, like you said, she's just there to tag along. Like she's really just like realistically, she shouldn't be there. Like it's like something to get in the way, a casualty. Yeah, I think I like the two of them more, David Corn, but overall though. And a quick question: Have you guys seen her, Rachel O'Brien? Right, that's her name. Have you seen her in anything before? So she's really new to me. I've not heard of her or seen her anywhere before.
I know that she's the leading role in The Marvelous Miss Maisel, but I haven't watched that, so I haven't seen her in anything. This is my first time seeing her.
Yeah, I'm digging it. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, I
cool. She's
mean,
cool.
I think she's cool also. I guess that show, as far as I know, is like pretty comedic. Um, and um, yeah, I guess I wouldn't say that Lois was necessarily like funny in this movie. Maybe she was, and I'm just forgetting. But um, I think she did a great job with her role. I also agree that of all the Loises that I've seen on screen, this was probably the best. This is the most like an actual journalist that I've seen. I guess
Right
because
on.
I know a good I know journalism people, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely I've talked to this person before, and I think that was interesting because something that people pointed out with I guess Amy Adams's version was that like they didn't find her particularly believable as a journalist. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't feel that way at all. Again, I feel like yeah, this is someone I've interacted with before for sure. Um, that does it's not meant to have any negative connotations or anything. I guess that came off a little weird, but um, yeah, I enjoyed the performance. Nothing wrong with it there. I do think, however, and I guess this maybe this goes without saying, or maybe there'll be some pushback here. I think with like every character in this film, except for Lex, in my opinion, could have been played by somebody else, and they like with good casting, I think they could have done just as good of a job. Like, I don't think that like this was so groundbreaking of a performance from David Cornsweet and from Rachel O'Brien. Is that her name?
I think it's Brosnahan.
Brosnahan. Shoot, my bad. Anyway, I don't think that
How
like
dare you?
either of them are irreplaceable, to be honest with you. Um, like, I don't know, you could have had someone else play the role who is equally good, and I think I would have found it just as believable. Not to say that there's anything wrong with the performances they did. I'm just saying, like, they did a great job with what they did, but I don't know. I personally don't think that like you couldn't have gotten that from someone else. I also don't think you couldn't have gotten the directing from someone else. But that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, that is true. I do feel like David Cornsweet was replaceable in this movie. It's good. He's great. And I think his romance with Lois is very good. I think in that specific aspect between those two actors, I think that's where they really excel, and I think that's of both their performances in this movie for me at least. But yeah, I feel like everyone else could be replaced. I don't think anyone really makes that Yeah, outside of Lex, and I guess I would also say Lewis. And I'm trying to think. I don't know. I do feel like Jimmy Olsen grew on me. I don't know. I feel like that what he kind of a lot of things he does could have been like captured. Yeah. What do you think, Matthew? Do you feel like?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So usually I'm the negative one, and I'm also the one who I think who's been ragging on this movie the most. But I like, I think that David Cornsweet and like Rachel Brosnahan, whatever her name is, like I think they're pretty good for like what they're given. Like I also think like part of it is like okay, I feel like Lois doesn't really have much of a character outside of Superman in this one, which like maybe I don't know, that's like whatever. Because like when I think of her good scenes, it's like the ones where she's talking to Clark, but like when she's not with Clark, I'm like, you're lame. I don't want to spend time with you. But I think like their chemistry is like very good. And like I think that sells a lot more. Because like yeah, I think that sells a lot of things. Like I bought that like they liked each other and that like they wanted to care about each other and like usually like I think romances in superhero movies like that's the thing where I'm like okay whatever Tony and Pepper sure I guess or like Cap and Peggy sure whatever but I feel like this is one of like the rare superhero movies where like I think the romances are better than like or the romance is better than most of the other stuff in the movie. Maybe that just like speaks to the nature of like how I think a lot of the rest of the movie is pretty mid or like bad. Um, but I'm cool with like a different David Corns or a different Superman other than David Cornsweet. But I think like Rachel Brosnahan, I'm like shoot, like you're good. I think there's like a level of like maybe is plucky the word of like or like that like not grit, but like when she was like interviewing like Clark, I was like, and when she was going into it and like just like talking over him and like asking these good questions and hitting these like little quick comebacks, I was like, shoot, this is good. I liked it. So I don't know. That was kind of my thought there.
Going
I
back,
think for like, oh sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say going back to the reminds me a lot of how I felt in movies. I think that was my favorite thing about the Spider-Man films was the romance between Garfield and Stone.
Oh yeah, and didn't they like date in real life?
I think they did. I think yeah.
Spider-Man actor always dates the
Yeah.
love interest actress IRL, except for Shamik Moore.
Shamik Moore, rest in peace, bro.
Take that out, bro. That's tough. You know who I do feel like actually going back to what we're talking about like that really like encapsulated their role. I feel like Nathan Fillion. I feel like he's a good Guy Gardner. I think he did an amazing job there. I don't know if I could see anyone else doing Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, or at least the way they're doing it.
I think my thing with like Guy Gardner is like I don't know the Green Lantern like comic books well enough to like know like if this is a good representation or whatever. But like I know Nathan Fillion's been in like James Gunn movies before and
Oh yeah.
like he's James Gunn's friend and like he's like playing the like like the goofy like jerk who's like gonna make jokes and like not care and be like a little bit too cool for school but also like be kind of dumb. Like I don't know, he's playing a character that I feel like Nathan Fillion is like good at playing and like in some way like I didn't feel like this was a Green Lantern. I know there's like a lot more lore of like, hey, yo, Green Lantern, and you're chosen and you're sent to this sector of the universe to like protect, and like you have this vow. Or whatever. Like I just felt like, oh, this is like Nathan Fillion with like a costume on and a terrible haircut, and like he can like do like green like superpower stuff. But I fully did really enjoy Guy Gardner a lot. I think he like there's a lot of side characters, and I think he's on the better end, like the higher end of like the side characters. Like there's some side like Hawk Girl was like I don't know why she was in this movie, bro.
What does she do? Like, what does
Like,
she do?
She screamed. Oh, and she kills the president too, right?
That's gonna have to come back in the sequel. That's insane. She just killed a world leader.
Nah, he did something bad, and they got it on camera, so she's allowed to kill him, and it's okay now.
Damn, they got him.
I
He's
think
canceled.
that's so funny because like in the beginning, like Lois is pressing Superman super hard for like poking the president with like two cactus needles, and then like yeah, they find out that he's bad, which like everyone knew he was bad in the beginning, but whatever. And then like I don't know, Isabella Merced just freaking yeets him like 700 feet from the like sky just to like murder him, and I was like, wow, this is yeah, it's a comic book, I guess, but
Yeah, I guess you could say like when that happens, it could come off as like tonally inconsistent, but at the same time, I also if that's who Hot Girl is, because I don't really know much about her either. I don't really see her much in the comics I read, but that's what they're gonna do with her, and that's how she is. I mean, sure, I guess I'm glad they can still do what or stay true to the character in Superman's narrative. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I get like Lois's like journalist on what she was trying to tell like Superman with the with the cactus. I mean, bro is like the equivalent of like Putin, or like yeah, I'm just gonna say Putin. Like yeah, definitely a Putin villain.
Yeah.
Like yeah, just grind on about it like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Thoughts on Metamorpho and what's it called? Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific, like kind of the other two ones.
Yondu? Nah, okay,
Wait,
but
what?
like yeah, nah, no, like Cade mentioned earlier, like in that one action scene, it just failed. Yondu and Guardians of the Galaxy 1. It was he's cool though. I mean, I'm interested to see where they go with him. It's one of those characters where we kind of just get introduced to him. But I do think, I mean, I this is how I feel. I'm interested in what his backstory. I don't know if we'll ever really get it, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to know more about him. I don't know if he needs his own project. I don't think they need to pull a Marvel show about him, but you could definitely at some point just talk more about his past. What would you say, Metamorpho, right?
Yeah, Metamorpho too. What did you think about him?
You know, his effects look really weird to me at some points. Like I don't know, like his character. It's unfortunate because sometimes I'll look at him like, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, he loves his. I mean, that's all we can pick up from him. I think it's kind of funny that he just joins the society, but yeah, his characters. There's not really much there for him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he just
Yeah.
he just loves his. Like yeah,
Yeah, I think like all right, this is me being a hater, but that's kind of what I do. I drink the haterade. But like when Metamorpho was out here like watching Ali die or whatever, or Molly, I forget his name. And like he starts crying, I'm like, okay, like sure, sure, like we need to give Superman a way to escape, so sure, I guess like it doesn't matter that much. But like really, and then also like I know that like part of the joke of like the baby being like this gross like CGI baby, it's like, oh yeah, like it's gross, haha, funny, funny, but like, oh, see like how Superman just like loves everyone and cares about all life. But like I won't lie, like during that scene, I was like, I do not care at all if this baby dies. Um, which maybe like that's a me problem, but I was just like, this is an ugly CGI baby who does not exist.
no, they don't do
That's
much.
crazy. That's
No,
crazy.
the baby specifically, the way you're saying it sounds crazy, but I can
Yeah, man,
identify
that
with
was
what you're
nuts.
saying. I don't think they really give like I don't kid. Like there's not really much there where I'm like, oh yeah, like I really hope it out. Like totally established characters really get but
Yeah,
and
like I,
when it,
I intellectually like understand that like oh this would be really like I intellectually understand the emotional like oh like you're supposed to care for this but I was like yo if this baby like falls into that anti-proton river or whatever it's called like I'm cool whatever let's just like get out of this place.
that's valid. I felt that for him and his dad though. For the both of them, I didn't really care for Metamorpho. And
Yeah,
I don't like the flip he does when the dude dies. Like you said, we gotta get Superman. Gonna need to like catch up, but it just kind of it didn't feel like gradual. Kind of just felt like boom. And I get killing someone in front of you is pretty big, but like felt pretty. He felt like he was fully like in going into like a part of this plan going in. So I don't know. I feel like they could have like made it a little bit more. Yeah, like I said, just gradual or just more make it more realistic.
yeah.
His turn.
K, are you a pro baby?
Like, wait, like pro baby as in what?
As in like you like this green monstrosity CGI guy?
I don't dislike him. I mean, like, I think there are certain types of characters that you don't need to form an emotional connection with in order to, like, root for. Like, I think the baby as a character served a purpose. Like it was literally like a functional character, like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, treat it like, oh yeah, it's the jewel, that the Mission Impossible people are stealing from this place, and like you want them to
He's
make
the
it out of there.
MacGuffin.
So like
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's that kind of like functional character. So yeah, I would say yeah, I guess I care. I didn't think that I needed to feel any other kind of way about the baby. Um, I'm like, yeah, if the baby didn't make it out of there, I would have been like, that is not good. But I wasn't thinking of it as if like it was like a real baby because I guess he's not. But I don't know.
Yeah, not gonna lie, when they get stuck in the black hole, I was kind of just like, oh, I guess I'll be surprised when only Superman and Crypto make it out of there. That's tough for the rest of them.
Imagine. But
Like,
yeah, I
bro,
feel like the baby was like, oh, sorry, go for it.
I was like, they really just make it out of a black hole with bro's breath. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's
Oh
just
yeah,
insane.
something that I hated was like I feel like that was like the first time where like they blared the Superman like theme of like bow, 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 like when he's like blowing his breath and like in slow motion like going away from I was like that was a super lame like ice breath blow and also like lame. I was like, bro, why are we using the Superman theme now? Um,
Yeah,
which
lame usage.
yeah, I feel
They
like
gotta meet their
the
quota.
score was not great. Yeah, I was like, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, the original score is not that good overall. I mean, I don't know if it's considered Lex's theme, but like that one piece of score that pops up in the beginning in his intro is fine. But yeah, the rest of it, I'm not impressed. And I was really expecting the film to have a decent score. I mean, I feel like James Gunn does good needle drops, but he also has like some good scores in this movie. I like the score in the Suicide Squad and what was it, Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Not the needle drops, but I actually do like some of the original score, like when they have that conflict with Ronan and they all like join. Like there's some really
okay,
good.
okay,
Like he has a good ear. Like I think he knows like okay, this would fit well with my film.
yeah, yeah. I think like when he doesn't have because obviously like Guardians of the Galaxy, like it has that like soundtrack, like that's part of the movies, like of like oh like you want to see like this volume one mixtape, volume two, and I think like in the Suicide Squad
The
too, like he
Suicide
used quite a
Squad.
the Suicide Squad, the
Squid
Suicide
Squad.
Squad. He like probably used a lot of songs too, but like I think yeah, like it showed that he couldn't use probably one of his like best like tools of like him like uh you know weaving like songs like pop culture songs from like the 90s the 80s into like the scenes in the movie. Um, I'm trying to figure out if like the Mighty Crabjoys are like a real band or not. Because
I assume
like
they're fictional. There's no way.
yeah, I think they're fictional. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
But
That
you
makes
never know if
sense.
the '90s, man, like they really was just doing anything back then. Like I don't know. Like
That's funny.
Yeah. Dang.
I'm googling it
Okay.
as we speak right now. The Mighty Crab
Yeah,
Joy.
I think they're fake. I think they're fake.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um, but okay, last question before well, I mean, the last question I have kind of on my thing. But thoughts on Supergirl and like the future of well, the next movie, Supergirl, and like the future of the DCU, and thoughts on like excitement or things like that.
I'm excited for the DCU. Like I I'm excited for this movie mainly because it was just I don't really care for Superman all that much. I want to see things like Clayface. I want to see Brave and the Bold. I want to see like all these other see another. And for Supergirl, I mean, from what I'm seeing online, people don't like her that much. People gonna hate, and I feel like the Snyder Cult going really bag on her. Her movie comes out, and that's gonna be it's gonna be. Real. But I'm interested with the storyline they're doing. Um, he basically confirmed they're gonna follow this, and he also said it's gonna be a story event. So I'm like, okay. But I feel like it would be spoilers if I say what happens in that comic. It's a good direction. Probably gonna be more they do with that film than anything else. And I do like that the budget's lower. I gotta double check. I think it's like 100 mil, maybe a little less. So that's kind of cool. And lanterns. I also gotta say lanterns. We were talking about lanterns a couple times this week, man. But I'm really excited to see. I do think they're gonna kill Guy Gardner. I think we're
Oh
not gonna
yeah,
see
like
much more of
he
him.
ain't no way Nathan Fillion gonna be like doing this for multiple, like multiple
He's in his
projects. I don't think.
50s. He's in his 50s.
Yeah, he ain't got time for that. Kay, what about you? Thoughts on the future of this universe of DC?
I think um different than how I was with Marvel because I was a lot younger at the time um and all that kind of stuff. And I guess none of the superhero fatigue had set in or anything like that. I think this time around I'm definitely going to be like a play it by ear kind of thing. Like I think I don't have to watch every movie if I don't want to. Like I don't need to do a ton of research on this, keep up with like all the news on every film and be super super invested in it like I was with MCU at its peak. Um, and I guess that's kind of bittersweet. I think this has a lot more to say about me personally rather than like the actual quality of the new universe that they're building. Because it could be something that's like totally interesting that I would really love. I think I just not currently at a point in my life where I have the time or energy or you know any of that to really be super super invested. I mean, I hope it's good. Hope there are some good movies. Like James was saying, I probably more interested in like Batman and maybe The Flash or anything like that if those movies ever end up getting made. Um, but the universe as a whole, I and like we've said, and I think has been a theme throughout this entire podcast. Like, not everything has to be for everyone, and I don't know if every movie is going to be for me. Like the universe as a whole, like I might not be super invested, and I guess that just means it's not for me, which is okay. Um, Again, like I said, I hope they're good, but I'm not super stressed about it.
Yeah, I think I am similar. Like, I think there's like individual projects that I'm excited about. I think like I'm really excited about Supergirl. I also have read like general like breakdowns and plot summaries of like the comics that the movie's supposed to be based on, and I really like the idea of like a kind of more like drunk Supergirl or like a Supergirl that like she witnessed like the whole fall and destruction of Krypton. And she was like, I don't know, a teenager then, and like she's got a lot of trauma and baggage to go through, and so like she'd be doing stuff and like a very different type of person than like Clark, which I enjoy, and I think like that is a more like realistic, gritty, serious movie that like I think I would prefer or like more heavily lean towards. Um, I think when it comes to the future of the DCU, like I think maybe it remains to be seen how much of like James Gunn is going to be in the different movies that he doesn't write or direct. Because I think in this Superman movie, there are some decisions that I think James Gunn made that I was like, this is great. I love it. Like, yes. And then there's some decisions where I'm like, yo, that was terrible. Why the heck would you ever do that? And so, like, maybe I'm like a little apprehensive about like the decisions that he would make as like a like creative executive. And like, I don't know if like he's got the Kevin Feige juice in him to be able to like make good like overarching decisions for a universe. Um, but like I think if it kind of trends more towards being like a lot of standalone different things and like where he actually really does let like each individual like writer and director just kind of like do their thing, I'm more excited for that because I think we definitely need that as like a change of pace from like the MCU and like they're just like, hey yo, we gonna do everything the same way, cookie cutter, like plug and chug. Um, but I also think, like, it's hard to, like, kind of tell what, like, the GCU is gonna look like, especially because we don't have a Batman or a Wonder Woman or, like, the Flash or, like, really all we have are, like, we have Superman, like, the Justice Gang and, like, Supergirl coming up and, like, Sergeant Rock or, like, Clayface or, like, these, like, little smaller name people, like, so I think it'll be interesting to see, like, I'm not, like, super hyped or excited. I think it'll be what it will be, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes around, I'll watch it probably, but yeah, I don't know, like that I think that like hype and anticipation of like a cinematic universe, like it just won't be the same anymore. Partially because like yeah, we're older, but also partially because like I think maybe that has kind of passed, you know. But
The novelty has kind of worn off.
yeah, yeah. Um,
I
but as we're kind of wrapping up, last overall thoughts on the movie. Like, okay, given the last I don't know 2 hours that we talked, like, do you guys enjoy the movie more? Like thoughts on like how your movie like opinion has changed over the last couple hours or hasn't changed or like thoughts on that?
I would say my thoughts on the movie haven't. Thoughts on what? Thoughts on the universe and what it. After this long conversation, I'm a lot more excited to see how the things look once James Gunn gets his hands film. Like once he's not writing them, once I'm kind of like I'm more excited to see like that. Like I want to see these independent, very independent films or like their own vision. Yeah, I just want to see how things look.
Yeah.
Yeah, my final thoughts generally, I liked the movie. I will try to see it again if I can, to maybe have some more fully formed thoughts on it. I doubt I will like it less. I'll probably like it more second time around. That's how I think I've noticed I generally am with movies. Like, um, if I didn't think the movie was perfect the first time, like I tend to ignore more and more flaws as I watch it more. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, which is maybe like a backwards way of doing it, but that's what I've noticed with how I watch movies. Um, yeah, I think it was good. Uh, what are my final thoughts on it though? I don't know. Going forward, I think I'd like to see some development of Superman's character because, I mean, if the plan is ultimately at some point to have like a Justice League, like the Superman that we saw in this film is certainly not the same Superman that you see in the Justice League. You know, like
Kind
obviously,
of
I
ready to
guess
prime time
technically,
it.
yeah, he's definitely not. I mean, I'm not. No one has ever explicitly stated that Superman is supposed to develop into that. I think people kind of speculate that that might be what ends up happening. That like, oh yeah, this is just his third year as Superman. As he keeps going, eventually he's gonna morph into the kind of like really stoic, not particularly goofy or young sounding kind of fella that we saw in this one. But I don't know. I don't remember James Gunn ever saying that. So um, if there ever is a Justice League and he's kind of the same version that we saw in this one, I think like, it's gonna be a little weird. I don't think that's gonna work out too well. But I'm hopeful, but not super invested. So kind of can't lose here. I think if they end up all just being bad, that's all right.
Yeah, what's that thing that like Zendaya says in Spider-Man? Like, oh, if you keep your expectations low, you'll never get hurt or whatever. I don't know. Something
Something
like
like that. That sounds pretty sad, but sure.
that. Yeah. I think yeah, the more I've sat with it, I think the less I've liked it. I think the acting's good. I think I like like I think the most important thing is that like I come out of this movie like liking the characters and I'm cool to see them in the future. So I think like that is like a success on its own and like I think like thinking back to like a lot of the early MCU movies like some of the movies weren't great, but we like the characters and the portrayals and like the actors and it's like that's kind of what carried it through to a lot of good things. Um but I think there's just like I just feel like baffled by a lot of like James Gunn's like script decisions and story decisions, and also just like the way that he chose to like portray things, or chose not to do things. That like I think I get frustrated at the movie, and I think I don't know who I was talking. I said this to one of you guys, but like for instance, like Captain America: Brave New World. I think Captain America: Brave New World is a lot worse than this movie. But like I knew that like there's a bunch of editing problems and like production problems that like would make it just like oh like this wasn't even like their best shot because it was just like cobbled together and terrible. But like so I can't even fault like all of its bad stupid things on a lot of stuff because I knew that this wasn't like their clear full vision or whatever. It was like a jumbled mess, right? But like this one I know that like this is James Gunn's vision. Like there's like it's him, right? And he's doing everything. And so even though I think this is like a better movie than Captain America: Brave New World, like I think I like it less because I'm just frustrated with it more because I think it could have been more, if that makes sense. It's like, yeah, more disappointing, I guess, because I expected more. Um, but those are the thoughts, I guess. Superman.
Hey, bro, really just hit him with the, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. Oh my
Yeah, I'm not
goodness.
mad. I'm just disappointed. Yeah, it's like this is what I say a million times a day to all my kids. But
Dang.
yeah,
What the heck?
I
I'm
feel like I'm
kidding.
the
I'm kidding. I
polar
don't.
opposite of both of you. I'm gonna eat up
Interesting.
everything throw out. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm like that person that it's like it feels abused. Like for
Dang.
Marvel and DC all around. Well, I'll see what happens. Like I watched Ironheart, whatever, and like I feel like I wasted my time.
Dang. Okay. See, I got to that. Like, I'm at that point with Marvel too, where like most of the stuff in like I don't know Disney Plus. Like, also I don't have Disney Plus anymore. I canceled the subscription. But like I don't be
Valid.
watching stuff no more either. I'm just kind of like, well, if it's like important enough, then like I'll figure it out, or like I'll see it on Instagram, and then I'll like watch a YouTube clip, and then I'll be caught up probably. But
Yeah, I haven't seen a Marvel show in like maybe 2 years or so. Or actually, no, I that's not true. I think the last one I watched was Loki season two, but I haven't watched a lot of things before that and anything after, I don't think.
dude, I just
Yeah,
need just please give me Hawkeye season 2. It'll never
I don't.
happen, but
Not happening, man. They didn't
I
pay
don't.
him enough.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming, man. Weirdly enough, I don't know why they can't just Steinfeld led show though.
it's so
I don't
sad.
know
It's
why
so
that can't
sad.
happen. I am curious to see how most of the people will look back at the 2010s and like the whole MC craze years towards the end of this decade. I wonder if people are really still gonna like appreciate it, or they're just gonna, become more critical of it and just see it for what it is. Because the more I look back, there's a lot of things I don't like about like them, especially in those first two phases. Like phase one, I can't revisit that at all. And yeah,
Really? Wow.
not. I
Really,
mean,
I found that surprising.
I found outside of like Captain America one, but like everything else, I just don't care for. I mean, obviously, I don't care about Thor. I don't care. It's really hard for me to rewatch the first Avengers movie. It's like really like cheesy.
That's crazy.
It makes me cringe a lot. Like I think Ultron is probably the most memorable one. But yeah,
Dang.
and that's a
Each
hot
their own,
take.
man.
Yeah, I know not many people like Ultron. That's fair, but I really do.
Dang.
Matthew,
Yeah.
say something.
I I mean Iron Man 1 is good.
It
I
is,
think
yeah.
I think Cap 1 is good. I think Thor, the first Thor is like fun because it's like Shakespearean and different, and it's like they tried something. It's not great, but like it's like and like Chris Hemsworth looks ugly with like the bleached eyebrows, but like it's cool. Um I really like the first Avengers. I'm like it looks yeah, like it looks like a TV show and it ain't pretty, but like I don't know, just like the dynamics of it, like I enjoyed a lot. And then what else was phase 1?
I feel
Oh,
like
Iron
whenever I
Man
rewatch
2's
the
there.
oh
Hulk.
yeah, Iron Man 2 is Hulk. Yeah. Whenever I want to see something from the give it the end game treatment, and I'll just rewatch the 30 minutes to like an hour. Like I'll just look at that last action scene, but I just really can't watch the film on its own and be like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna watch the whole first Avenger. Kind of rough for me.
Wow. Wow.
I know.
Dang.
That's gotta be probably one of the
It's a
hottest
hard
takes.
life out here, man.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
When
Yeah,
you
I
can't even
don't
go
know.
back to phase 1 Marvel.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about Iron Man 2?
I like it.
It's
I think it
alright.
was
It's
fine.
cool.
It's yeah, it's just it's whatever. Yeah, it's fine. I'm around
Um,
there. Dang. I'm now the
yeah.
hater. I've become the hater.
You're the hater now.
Damn.
Okay, last question, last question. Um, do you think, because this is inevitable, we have to compare the two, but do you think Fantastic Four is gonna be better than Superman?
Think it'll be on par or worse. And yeah, unfortunately.
I agree. Probably either the same or worse, but most likely not better. I mean, I
For
wish
sure.
that it was better because, like, I think the
Me too.
Fantastic Four like have so much potential to be just like this really awesome story, but probably not.
They deserve such a good story, but yeah, track record MCU and all of that. I just don't have that too much hope.
Dang. Interesting, because like I am like of as much of a because I'm a decent level Superman and James Gunn hater, as you know, witnessed by this podcast. But as much as I'm a hater for that, I am I'm the hugest Mr. Glaze for Fantastic Four. Like I need this movie to be good, and I hope so badly that it's amazing and fantastic and makes $3 billion. I'm so excited for that movie. My goodness.
I'm right there with you. I want it to be everything. I mean, I love Doom. That's like probably like my favorite supervillain of all time. And I just really like the Fantastic Four. It really like hit me at a good time as a kid. I think probably for a lot of us. But yeah, I don't know. I just it's not. It's more so with the studio and the universe itself, and not the film. Like I
That's
just
true.
yeah, I'm not that confident. But yeah, I'm excited, and I have been. I remember when they announced it. Like, what around time Endgame came out? Maybe a year after that.
Dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I need this film to do good though. Like I I need it to like get people hyped for like Doomsday.
Yeah. Dang. Well, until then, we're 2 weeks away from that. But thank you, boys, Kay, Jim, for hopping on the pod, talking some Superman. But yeah, appreciate it. And so go watch Superman, I guess. I don't know. I feel like
Or don't.
I have not been recommending it to certain people, like people who are more casual audience, like to my family. I haven't recommended it to, but like I feel like if you like comic book movies, like or if you like James Gunn, like you're gonna like this movie. So you can go watch it, I guess.
If you do not like James Gunn, do not go see this movie. This is like the most James Gunn film. James Gunn. It is very James. So yeah, I mean, if you don't like James Gunn, then you probably know not to go. He probably has like the most freedom, like creative control too in any superhero project on this film as well, considering he's the literal head. So like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.